They've been there and done that. And now the baddest of the rock gods methodically analyze and dissect musical notes, compositions, and riffs that made them go from the stage to the couch. This is My Favorite Riff. Here's your host, Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx here. I'm with Nita Strauss. What's happening?
What's happening?
Thanks for coming on. We are going to hang out. This is My Favorite Riff, and we're going to talk about guitars, gear, and all kinds of stuff. So what's going on?
All my favorite topics.
I just have to go like all the way back, like 1,000 years back. Like, when was the first time you picked up a guitar?
I started playing guitar right around the time I turned 13.
Okay.
And I started out playing drums, and I wasn't really any good at that. I started playing bass, and I just didn't have the feel for it. Finally, I picked up a guitar, and that was the thing that stuck. That was the thing that was just like the life-changing, you know, this is what I was supposed to be doing all this time.
Did it feel like home when you first picked it up?
Oh, absolutely. It literally, like, I remember this sense of, why didn't anybody tell me this before?
Yeah.
And I was that kid, you know, I was that kid who was always playing, always had a guitar in my hands. My mom would have to tell me, like, you know, put the guitar down, it's time to eat dinner, put the guitar down, it's time to go to bed, and then she'd turn out the lights, and I'd still be in there practicing, you know, with the lights out, and, you know, just that love you have for your instrument when you start playing, there's nothing like it.
I always say follow your obsession, and to be a really great, well, to be great at anything, you have to go down that road.
You do have to be a little bit obsessed with it, a little bit addicted to it.
Yeah.
You get addicted to that feeling of getting better at your instrument. You see yourself improving, like, it's kind of like, you know, working out or dieting or anything. You see yourself improving, you know, you see your physique getting better, you see your technique getting better, you see your free throw getting more solid, whatever it is. You're like, I want to do this more.
I mean, we toured together for 2 years, and I watched you, you know, sound checks, you know, doing the shows, and, you know, at grade A, just shredding every night.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you get better even though you've got to this point now all the time?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think I've gotten a lot. I think I get better all the time because you have to make yourself grow. You have to push yourself out of the comfort zone, especially in a show like Alice's where you do a lot of the same songs all the time.
Sure. You
have to find ways to push yourself. Like, so for me, it's in my solo. I get to play whatever I want. And for a while, I was just going to hit the easy button. I'm like, let me just do licks I know. That'll just, like, this will just be an easy knockout of the park, just relax and do it every day. Now in this new solo, I've pushed myself to do stuff that I'm not as good at, so I have to practice. I have to nail it. And
you change it up?
I do, yeah. I change it up. I change it up drastically every year, basically. So I do a whole new thing every year and completely change it. And this one's fun. This one has been, I did something melodic this time, like something actually slow and melodic for the first time.
And then build up into something.
I actually, the funny thing is, it starts out crazy, and then it just winds down into this melodic ending.
Well, that's cool.
So I just kind of went someplace that nobody would expect, and you know, I had some feedback, I had some critique from people who say, "Why don't you just bend? Why don't you just bend the note and just let that, you know, let the note ring out?" And I was like,
sometimes less is more, as you know.
Well, you know, as Malmsteen said, if less is more, just think of how much more is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
But it's true. You know, sometimes you do have to let the instrument sing. Sometimes, you know, I did want to show people on the other side of myself that it wasn't just fast, that I could play with some, you know, with some heart and some soul and some emotion. And
so, what's like one of the first riffs or first things that you remember learning and just you're like, I love this riff?
Well, the first time I ever heard, like, really heard heavy metal, I remember it so clearly. It was there was a promotion going on, and it was like, if you order a pizza, you get to download like 5 songs off the internet. And this is like
right when
you get to, like, I know it's all my favorite things,
need that
pizza
now.
and metal. And it was, you know, and this was like right when, you know, I was around 13, and it was just like downloading was starting and whatever, and I was just starting to play guitar. And I was like, just, you know, and then you go on, of course, and you order your pizza, and you get your pizza, and you get the code, and then you go on the website. And I had never heard of any of these bands. And I was like, oh man, I wanted some Guns N' Roses or, you know, whatever. So what's on here? And I picked all these bands I had never heard of, you know, whatever. My dad picked an Al Green song, and then finally I had one song left, and I see this name, Megadeth. And I was like, that's cool.
That's a good name.
Megadeth.
Yeah,
what is this? You know,
Pizza and Megadeth.
Pizza and Megadeth. And it was Trust. The song Trust had just come out. And I remember hearing that song, like kicking that song when the toms kick in, and then it builds up, and then that riff comes in, and Marty Freeman's playing is just like so stellar on that song, and it's so heavy, and I was like, oh my God, like just, it knocked me on my ass, this song. So I went to this older guitar player that I knew, and I was like, hey, how do you play that song? Yeah. And I remember, can I play now?
Turn it on.
I remember learning those pinch harmonics, and to this day now, you know, I was 13 then, I'm 30 now, so it's 17 years, and still people go, you play like you just learned how to do a pinch harmonic, because I use them all. And I just remember how heavy that was and how great it sounded. Yeah. And then there was that next. And I remember being this like stubborn, you know, kid guitar player, like you all are at that age, and this guy's going, okay, so you go like, and I didn't know how to palm mute at the time, so I'm going. And I was like, why doesn't it sound like that? He goes, no, you got to put your hand like this and play like that. And I said, I don't play like that.
You already knew everything.
I don't play like that, and of course, then you know, eventually, of course, you do play like that, and then it sounds right, and then you palm mute like it's grown up.
Yeah, you know, there's like so many things you can learn from so many people. Like, what would be one of your favorite guitar players?
Well, Vai, definitely, and you know, something that always comes to mind about Steve Vai's playing is there's not that many people that can make words with the guitar. Yeah. They can make a guitar solo that you actually hear the words. Like, you know, you think about Yankee Rose. You know, wah, wah, what? Whoa, whoa, oh, let me roll up onto the sidewalk and take a look. Whoa, wow. And like, there's this whole conversation, and it never occurs to you that there's not another person talking on the other side, because it's this clear as day conversation. Who can do that except Vai? Yeah. You know?
Have you had a chance to sit down and play with him yet?
I haven't.
How would you feel?
Oh, I'd be scared out of my mind, but I'd do it for sure. I would do it. I did when I put out my instrumental song on his label, Favorite Nations, and the album's called She Rocks. And when he heard my song, he sent me the most amazing email, which I'm actually meant to print it out and frame it and put it on my wall, but I haven't been home. Yeah. But hearing someone that I have always looked up to talk like that about my playing, and you know, he noticed stuff about my playing that I didn't even really notice.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool, because he's listening really deep.
Yeah, and so stuff like that was really like, you know, it's an amazing feeling to see when your idols become your peers almost. Yeah. Not that I really consider him a peer, but you know, to somebody that really took the time to listen.
He's been doing it a lot longer than you, and you get to like, you know, there was someone that you're like, I want to be able to play technically in that world, and so for him to notice you, you know, I know as a songwriter, I get other songwriters will say stuff like, hey, great song, and I'm just like, I can't even believe you even know who I am. Yeah, you know, we think like
totally. That. Well, it's funny to come full circle again with life. You know, this whole day has been about coming full circle, because Vai was my biggest inspiration, and I get to play his solo on Feed My Frankenstein every night with Alice, which is a song you worked on. Yeah. So, like, did you have any part of Vai being there? Like,
Steve was there.
Really?
I was there, yeah.
How was he?
And it was awesome. I've been to Steve's house quite a few times, and one time he was working on something, and he wanted to write something a little less technical. He was like trying to put something, I forget what it was for, kind of just straight ahead rock. Right. And he was playing something, and I said, you know, hey, maybe like this. And he said, oh yeah, take my guitar. So I grabbed his guitar, and it was just like, you know, something like Shout at the Devilish, you know, type thing. And then I just stopped, and I looked at him, and I was like, I'm sorry.
Here you go.
I'm sorry that I played. No, he goes, no, I actually, like, the way you're explaining it made sense to me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I still like think about that and think, man, I wish I hadn't done that. You know what I mean?
I was at that house one time for one of the producers he was working with, and I didn't even really figure out it was his house, you know, because the studio is in the back in Encino. And then I figured out what house it was. Of course, when I walked in, I saw the gems. I was like, oh my God. This is the mothership. This is the mothership. Yeah. The Mothership 2 or whatever, how they call it. And I was like, oh, this is it. And I was like, can I go inside and use the bathroom? And he said, there's a bathroom in here. I was like, oh, okay.
But he walks in, you're sitting on the couch, playing Yankee Rose. Show me something you love to play. One of your favorite riffs.
One of my favorite riffs. You know what? Can I switch guitars real quick?
Yeah.
So when I was writing stuff for my band, We Start Wars, you know, I have this really technical approach to like the songwriting. I have this little chip on my shoulder, like I gotta play fast stuff, I gotta play this technical stuff. So I was writing stuff kind of so like I like to go into that groove and go out of the thing, like kind of weave in and out of.
There's so much cool melody in there.
Yeah, I like. Getting those harmonies and getting those, you know, harmonizing with itself within the riff. Drop C on this one.
Oh, drop C. Okay.
Just
A440 drop C.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
I just got a new riff to learn.
Yeah.
I got to go home and work on that.
It's fun. You know, it's fun to get getting those stretches in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, and then getting the like getting the chugginess
like the little rhythm in there internally.
Yeah.
Hey, like when you're like warming up, like what would be a good warm up thing for you? You're just gonna, you just picked up your guitar, you've had a long day, meet and greets, you got a show in an hour, you want to, get loosened up.
I play a lot of that kind of stuff. I really do. You know, I like to play stuff that's fun.
Got a little rhythm to it. It feels good. It's not just
scales and runs and stuff.
Yeah.
I like to warm up by improvising. Like I'll put on like something really like chill, like like a lot of power ballads or Bryan Adams or Bon Jovi,
and play along with it.
And play along to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's really, really fun for me. And then we're doing some heavier stuff in the Alice show. We're opening up with Brutal Planet, which is another like. You get that kind of like, almost the Frankenstein, almost that Dr. Feelgoody kind of groove to it, where it's all heavy on the right hand. So like, I'm always making sure I'm in that groove before we start this show, because I don't want to be. And then we start into the groove, and I'm like, oh, I'm not even in this zone. I'm not even in this world right now.
Yeah. So is there a riff that came on the radio? You're growing up, had it on your vinyl, your CD, streaming. You're like, I wish I wrote that riff.
Sad but true.
Right,
Metallica.
it's true. It's true.
That is the song. Like if I could pick a song to play when I walk into a room. Like that riff, the heaviness and the simplicity, like
it is.
I guess sometimes less is more.
It's it is. It's simple and it feels a little bluesy in an interesting way.
Yeah, totally. It's got the pull-offs. Yeah. But it's just got that the punch to it and the balls to it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime you want.
Thank you so much.
Come on down. We'll do some shredding.
Hell yeah.